We're going to take a closer look now at the market trends on the cattle side of things. We talked to egg economist Dr. Kate Brooks from the University of Nebraska. No shortage of things to be looking at these days as the markets continue to be challenged.
They are. You know, we've got a lot of mix from increasing costs as well as decreasing calf prices going forward, which has an impact on the profitability for these cow-calf producers here in 17.
And cost of production is still a factor, so you know that's definitely a concern.
Yes, we've continued to see cost of production increase. Biggest things tend to be the feed costs that we've continued to see rise. Pasture rental rates, again, have also been on the rise as land in general has been increasing over time.
In terms of trade, you showed some numbers, and a lot of our major trade partners are some of the ones that would have been involved in the TPP. You know, that could be seen as a bit of a setback because that really could have opened some doors to get some U.S. beef flowing into Japan that maybe hasn't been there since the whole BSE scare about 15 years ago.
It is. You know, Japan opened back their full borders a couple years ago, and we've continued to see increases into Japan recently with those tariffs even in place. However, 2 years ago, a year ago, Australia and Japan worked out some trade agreements to reduce their tariffs. The TPP was going to allow some of those reductions in tariffs to Japan. We don't know how long that could have actually taken, still several years before we would have seen those, so we still might have seen some disadvantages there.
So when you look at trade as a component of what's driving the dollars, trade's a pretty significant driver there, isn't it?
Trade is, you know, as we look about that 10% being exported, it's a lot of products that we may not consume here in the United States, so it offers a availability of using more of the entire animal as a whole as well. So trade can play a big factor here in the beef markets going forward.
Can you give them an understanding of just how much the cattle markets are down from maybe where they were a year or two ago?
Right, so if we go back to the average, the 2010-2015 average prices were somewhere around in October, around $200 per hundredweight. As we moved through October of 16, we were down to about $140 per hundredweight. That's for, you know, your smaller calves. We did see some strength there the end of 16, the beginning of 17, so we're back around that $145 per hundredweight. But again, you know, comparing that to those larger prices, you know, well over $200 per hundredweight, it's a big difference.
So we're looking at a situation where profitability is going to be a challenge for some folks.
It is. You know, those especially with higher costs associated with it, profitability is going to be a challenge here in 17.
All right, well, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Weather's up next, and still to come, a farmer speaking on behalf of other family farmers will meet our Farm Family of the Month.